this is Jazz and
Ashley.
Yeah, we're over at the Mystics, Mediums, and Mindfulness Market, also known as the Psychic Fair. And we're just going to be here for a few hours recording stories. Thank you for Ashley for joining me. Cher had other things going on, so here she is. And we have Brendan with us. Yeah, I threw you in there. Sorry. You're like, fine. It's Brendan, right?
Brandon.
It's Brandon. Oh, well, my apologies. Sorry.
Okay.
I am so sorry. And these lovely people are both with the Winnipeg Paranormal Group. Hi. How are you?
Hello.
Good.
Podcast?
Yes. I'm Jazz.
Hey.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good.
How's it going for you guys?
Good. We just set up looking for ghost stories. Do you have any stories to share or to tell?
I got lots.
Do you? Do you want us to, like, it's no pressure if you want. Hi.
What are you guys about?
What's that?
What's this about?
Well, come on. You want me to sell you the shtick?
No, I know the shtick.
We're Winnipeg's first and only paranormal podcast. For 5 years. Downloaded in 43 countries. On
And
feed
they're
spots.
friendly,
We are just so amazing and sweet. Did you
Sexy?
It depends on the day. Did you see our announcement this morning?
No, because I was. What's the announcement?
The announcement is that we've teamed up with the Winnipeg Paranormal Group, Raven's End's Books, and Little Brown Jug, and we're going to be hosting Ghost Storytelling Night at the last Thursday of every month.
How much is it to join?
It's nothing. It's free.
No, you guys. You're worth so much.
I know.
That sounds awesome.
So we're gonna. It's gonna be
May 30th.
Yeah, May 30th, and we're gonna have swag there, stuff. We'll have some giveaways. We'll do our shtick and talk and record for the first hour-ish. Or if anybody wants to be interviewed, that would be the time to do it. And then at that point, because they sell alcohol there, it warms people up. And then say from 8 to 9, they can tell their story. Like it's, just like open mic. Or if they've written a ghost story, just anything to do
I
with
wish I had one.
a ghost story.
Most of mine are
Hello. We still have to sit down and do a proper.
Seen last, was it 3 weeks ago? So I got attacked in my sleep again, right?
Oh, no.
So just brought it all up.
Oh, shit.
Just normal stuff.
Well, you were asking me about that. We were talking. We were
Yeah, I sent you
texting.
the
Picture.
You just sent me from my bathtub. I'm like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
I went to the church and I showed Richard. And he told me I better behave myself. Then I better protect
Hello.
myself more. I was like, I was sleeping.
How are you? Good. Got a ghost story?
Everybody has a ghost.
Everybody has a ghost story.
I did some ghost busting a while back.
Hey.
And this was in another province.
Okay.
And we were at
Come
a-
sit.
You want to come sit and have a seat? I'm Jazz. So I'm with the podcast. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Marty.
Hi, Marty. And we have Brandon and Ashley from the Winnipeg Paranormal Group. They do the actual investigations.
Oh, cool.
So,
Cool. Yeah, this was out in Alberta.
Okay.
I was with another group at the time. I was living out there, and there is a report of paranormal activity in a home.
okay.
And the land has a violent history, and the family was experiencing some sort of unusual happenings, stuff flying through the air, doors closing in the middle of the night,
Right.
just weird stuff that, it's not just the wind, and no windows open, that kind of thing. And so we went in, like there was a whole team of us, and we went in, we were there from like 12 to 3, something to that effect. And they did recordings of everything. We didn't find anything happen with our own eyes. But when they played back the recording, of course this happens to me, right? My other friend that I was with, she's an intuitive herself. I'm rummaging through my purse for my keys, and she asked me, "What are you looking for?" And I said, "My keys." But when the recording plays back, there's a voice that says, "What do you have?"
Oh. Interesting.
Nice. What do you have? So after after I said my keys and what do you have, there was a bit of there was a laugh after that too.
Oh,
Yeah. So that's my story.
Yeah.
Small, but
well, that's pretty cool.
it's like you don't think of these things,
Of course.
right? Because of course we're looking or feeling
Right.
and experiencing things on this realm, but of course on another realm.
You're speaking with the right people. They know.
Awesome.
Yeah, they do investigations all the time.
Awesome.
So,
That's really cool.
yeah, very cool. Well, thanks for sharing your story.
No.
And if you ever have take one of our cards and
Yes.
Marty.
Oh no,
Yeah, it was
thank
nice meeting you.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Yeah, have a great day. We'll see you again. Take care. Yeah, so you seem to be a bit of an introvert, not to label you by any means, but or you're reserved. Reserved.
Yeah, it depends on where I am, really. I'm definitely shy at first.
Yeah.
I do better with the people.
Gotcha. They don't talk back. Well, I guess they do, but
And if
yeah.
they do,
Hi.
She's like, I want to go look at the ghosts.
Hi. Well, we don't have them here today, but
Like right here.
well, juniors, both juniors.
I'm like, oh, it's like the spirits.
They flash. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's up your alley.
Do you ladies have ghost stories?
I don't.
You don't? No?
I wish.
Okay.
You?
Yes, lots. Actually, take a business card if you'd like. We have stories.
You're gonna do the podcast?
Yes, we've been doing it for 5 years.
Really?
Yeah,
See?
5 years. Winnipeg's best kept secret. What do I always say? Oh, we've been on feedspot.com's #1 paranormal podcast in Canada a few times. And this is the lovely Ashley and Brandon from the Winnipeg Paranormal Group. They actually do the investigations.
Like, are you mediums? Are you?
No,
No,
but
just regular
Oh,
Joes.
we
like
do
these
have
ones.
people in our
Those are a
group
buck.
too, but I'm not.
These are 4?
Yep.
it's something where
And the rings are 3.
my confidence seeing and feeling spirits is
wow.
really high. Yeah, it was really terrifying as a
Oh,
child.
that's too little for
When I
me.
was young.
I think
But I think that my
so.
parents shut that down real quick, so then I just developed the shutters and I haven't been able to open it up. Not that I really want to.
So you find yourself, you're intuitive as well? Like you have a bit of a...
feel I am, but
Yeah.
I really haven't had any sort of like, oh my god, it's true. Like nothing
Right.
is really. I see 1111 a lot. I see.
Yeah.
I have feelings about things, and I'm like, oh, that actually turned out that way.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to listen to trust my gut.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's one thing that we say in this field is like that. Your gut, it doesn't lead you astray.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah. And when I noticed I should have listened to my gut, and then it ended the wrong way, I'm like, I should listen. There was a red flag. I should listen.
Yeah.
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 So my name's Jazz. Who are you?
Amanda,
Amanda?
Penny.
Hi, Penny. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, for sure.
this is our first second stop, so we're gonna make a loop.
Yeah,
we're gonna
by all
do
means,
that.
for sure. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes, thank you.
Been doing that since I think 2006 or something. 2009. Anyway, so they had him on, but he's also the founder of the MBE Podcast Fest as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And when that comes up in September, you guys should try and come out to that with us.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. Because you know where it is, right?
No.
It's at the Park Theater. Uber haunted. Super duper haunted. I even
Yes,
had
please.
I had an interview with the owner, but he said, you can interview me, he says, but I don't want my voice. So I basically had an interview with him, and I dictated what he said to dictation. Yeah, and then I basically read what he said, what our conversation was. It was as close as I could get it. So, because he renovated that place, and
That could be trouble.
Brandon just looks at me. He renovated that place because it was a movie theater, and he wanted to turn it into a venue. And he would go to his day job, how he described it, he would go to his day job, and then he had like a wife and a little kid or something, but then at night he'd go right to the theater after, spending a few hours with the kids or whatever, or an hour or so. Hi. And he'd then go to I guess he lived close by, he'd go to the theater, he'd be jackhammering and, all this kind of stuff. And I don't think it was 3, but it's like, bless you, I don't think it was 3, but something like the same time every night, the power would just shut off. And he'd be like, okay, that's good enough for me. He'd be in pitch blackness. He'd put the jackhammer down and he would leave. Because I guess, when you're in the mindset, right, you're just like, right? And then
Yeah.
power goes out. He's like, yeah, no, that's a sign. It's time to go home. And then one time he was working there by himself again. And I think he said one time he'd seen a lady at the bar. He turned around and there was like something. There was a lady at the bar and then she disappeared. And another time he's seen the same lady descending the stairs, and he was there late at night. The power was on, but he saw this lady descending the stairs, and then he's like, out of here. He had his keys. He just locked up. He walked out. Didn't even shut the lights off.
Nice.
And then he proceeds to tell me during the flood of 1950 or something. So there were churches in the area, and there's that creepy old cemetery on Osborne, right? So I guess the Park Theatre was on higher land or something. So what had happened was, the flood happened, and you got all these churches. Churches have funerals. Funerals have dead people. And a lot of these churches had dead bodies in the churches. Plus, at that time, you didn't really always have, like, the morgue per se. It's the time of the flood. You can't bring the bodies to the, all that, right? So they needed to store the bodies. So the owner at the time, it wasn't being used as a theater, I guess, at that point or something. And, they had stored anywhere from, like, a dozen or so bodies in the basement there for a week or two until the waters went down and stuff, so...
Yeah, it's actually pretty common. There's so many haunted places in Winnipeg.
I know.
I just wish more people would be open to it.
Yeah. People are fear of the unknown. Yeah. Pretty much.
Their brother-in-law tells a story of a little green man who visits his place.
No.
And I'm like, but I don't know whether he's being honest or just toying with me because that's the type of guy he is, right?
Yeah.
Like he's very sarcastic. He's like everything's a joke. So I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's too bad, eh?
I want to believe him.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Sherry tells a story. She has a very specific memory from when she was about 5 or 6, something like that. She was quite young, and they were out in the country by Vida. Like out south of Winnipeg, right? South of Steinbach. And I guess there was like a storm. I don't know. She thinks it was a storm. She doesn't know what was going on there. I guess there were like lights in the sky and flashing, and she was with her mom and grandmother, or mom and aunt or whatever, and they scooped her up and they went running to the house and they were screaming, like because they were out in the field or something. It was at night or something, and all she remembers is the lights. Her mom has a very specific memory. I'm like, we should interview your mom. And then they ran to the house, the basement, and they like kind of locked themselves in the farmhouse in the basement. Wow. And she says all you could hear was like some kind of like a noise, like and there were like lights flashing and stuff, and she got scooped up, and the women were freaking out, frantic and screaming. That's her memory, right? But she says her mom would be able to tell us more, and I'm like, let's interview her mom.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Something happened in my house this morning.
Your Keurig?
No, that's been happening for a few months, but that can't explain that. My Keurig for the last 6 months, actually for a while I was doing it just after 11 o'clock because I work from home, and I've only noticed it in the last year. So for a while it would turn itself on after 11 o'clock, and lately at 7:12 every morning it turns itself on. It's 15 years old. It doesn't even have the capacity to program to turn on. Yeah. See, now, we bought my grandmother a Keurig, and because she was getting older, she still loved coffee, but it was too confusing for her. She lived in her own home. It was too confusing for her to figure out how to put the pot in and all that kind of stuff. But I was trying to make it easy so she didn't have to boil water and stuff, So we bought her a Keurig, and it was sitting there, and she didn't use it for the longest time. So we just took it back, and then the next year she passed away. And then that machine died at some point. So this one we've had maybe 10 or 12 years. So anyway, that machine only lasted, but this has been the same. This was the replacement machine. So to me, it's almost like my grandmother's trying to help me out. That's what I think. Because she knows I love coffee. She'd always make me coffee and stuff.
Try to help you.
What's that?
I'm going to try to help you. I'm going to try to help you make coffee.
Yeah.
What is this fancy thing?
Yeah. It just never, even just pressing the button, that's fine. But that's the year she was starting to, she was good up until then, and then she fell and broke her arm, she'd never bounced back. It was,
Yeah.
you know, I think a little dementia was starting to pop in there and everything, and I'd always have to run there during the day, during work. Morning. Or afternoon. No, I was sleeping on the couch because I got up in the middle of the night. I was fidgeting. I was all plugged up. Morning. Washroom's over there. And what was I going to say? So we have a newer home. Like, it's newer. It's like 20 years old, 24. It creaks and it makes noises, and I hear the floor creaking where people should be walking, and there's nobody there. I do get that quite often, but that's fine. Yeah, I think it's the dog. Oh, nobody's there. Okay, fine. So I was sleeping on the couch because I moved there at about 1:30 because I was all plugged up and stuff, and the bedroom was getting hot. So I go downstairs because I got menopause stuff going on. So I go sleep on the couch, set my bed up, go to couch, wake up at 5, and I'm like, oh, I should really get up and do stuff. And I'm like playing on my phone a little bit, debating to go back to sleep or not, right? And then I heard the weirdest creaking on my foyer. When you walk in, there's like a little bit of an area between the closet, the garage door, and the front door. And it was almost like the kind of sound when my dog, she hasn't gone there lately, but sometimes she'll go lay by the front door, or just like the, not the scratching, but just like the floor cracking and moving, and her, like, you know, whatever, shuffling and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, the dog's in the kitchen, because I saw her go over there about 20 minutes ago. Because first I'm like, oh, it's the dog. I'm like, no, the dog's in the kitchen. Because I could even see the black shadow on the floor. I'm like, okay, time to get up and make lasagna then. I'm not going to go back to sleep. It was enough to just, it was almost like a mimic, right? I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying the way the floor made enough noise, like pressure, like somebody was walking on it, and then like the shuffling like of the dog. Yeah. It was enough to jar me, and I don't get jarred very easy at all. I don't. So.
My dogs have been staring at something in the house, and I can't figure out what it is. Oh. It just started, like, they go through spurts of it almost.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened for probably a year, and then they just sit there and stare at this corner. I'm like, And both of them, like not just one, both dogs.
Oh, well, that's interesting then. You don't have cats, eh? Just dogs. Yeah. Do you have pets?
Not anymore.
No?
But similar things, they would definitely see or feel things before me. I do have a story though. I'm feeling a little more comfortable to tell a story.
Can I pull the mic up to you? Or do you want to sit here? Sure.
Okay, so in about 2014, I purchased a cabin, like a small cabin trailer just outside of town. Mm-hmm. And I knew the person that I was purchasing it from. Was her and her husband at the time. So I'm sleeping. This is happening almost every night. So I can feel someone standing over me at times. I can see them standing over me. And then I can also feel them walk away, and I can sort of hear them going towards the bathroom. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay. I call the, I can't remember what her name was, but she owned the place prior to me. And I'm like, so what's going on? What's going on here? Have you had things happening here? She's like, actually, my friend used to come with my husband and I quite a bit to where you are, but he died from prostate cancer. So he was going to the washroom, and I could feel him going to the washroom all night. And he just so happened that part of his ashes were buried in my yard. So it kind of gave me validation, as well as I saw a smoky cat. Like, I could see it was slightly see-through. Okay. And I told her, yeah, I've seen a smoky cat as well. And she said her cat the name of the cat is actually Smokey, had just passed away.
Wow. Yeah,
so
yeah.
The validation part of it, I think, is it just makes you feel like you're not quite not losing it.
Right.
But that's two of the stories. But I've been having experiences literally since very young. Yeah. And terrifying. Like some of them have been terrifying. Yeah. But so that's two of my stories.
Well, thanks for sharing. Yeah. No, that's cool.
Welcome.
That's cool. Did you keep the place? Like, did
I
that bother
I
you?
still live there, but quite as much activity. But there was a lot of activity, like rocks being thrown in the yard. I feel a lot of times there's shadow people. I see a lot of shadow people in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a shadow person protector that's been with me since I was younger, but that was one of the ones that I first seen as a child that scared me.
Okay.
Like a dark figure, but he's told me I look scary for a reason. I'm your protector, so.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. So, years back, I have a friend, through a friend, acquaintance, but now her name's Janet. So, we've had her on the podcast for sleep paralysis and stuff, because she actually used to have such bad sleep, and she's a bit younger than me, but she lives in Windsor Park. She used to have such bad sleep that she would actually record herself. Don't do this. She recorded herself while she was sleeping, just the audio, and she would get back some weird shit and stuff. Like, both her parents were dead. She had all their stuff in the house. Her parents died while her and her sister were like just in their early 30s. They're just. So I think there's just like a lot of, I don't know, like there's. I believe it's her parents, but anyway. So, she's very in tune with a lot of stuff and with everything that's happened with her, and she wanted to do investigations, right? She wanted to try it. She called themselves Prairie something Paranormal Society or something. I can't remember. And I said, well, I'll do an episode for you. Like, we'll record. And the first and last and only case that we ever did, or she did, me again as an observer, because I'm not an investigator. I was just recording and stuff. So my husband's best friend's daughter, and he's long passed, but the daughter we're still in touch with, weird things were happening at her place in Petersfield, and this was when she was pregnant, and she saw black shadow people in her trailer, right? And it was her property. I think she's moved since then, but it was that big long road, like when you go out and come back in, and it's along the campground, like it's kind of close to the camp. Okay, yeah, and it's something about the land, because we brought us this young psychic medium that we had befriended. I've lost contact with her. Nice girl. But she said, it's not the house, it's not the property. I see an old man and an old woman, and the woman is actually protecting you and your son from the old man, and he's not happy you're here. But this only happened to her when she was pregnant. Like, things were only happening to her when she was pregnant. And the girl, what is that girl's name? I have her information somewhere. But anyway, yeah, she said it is attached to the land. It's the black spirit.
There was so many, and my niece was there too, and she saw it too. She's like, you see the one way up high, and there was one way up high. Usually I see them peeking around, like peeking around places.
Right.
But yeah, way up in there.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff attached before we've been here. Like, I mean, there's so much, eh?
Oh, yeah. So much history in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
So I get a kick out of Lower Fort Garry. Oh, might have a place for you guys to come check out for funsies.
Cool.
A friend of mine lives a stone's throw from Lower Fort Garry, like literally on that side.
Nice.
Yeah. And she's a little sensitive to things. So she was saying, do you got any of those gadgets I can borrow? And I'm like, yeah, I got, She was sitting out on her, I don't know why she didn't tell me this before, but she was sitting out on her deck, and she saw something move in the yard. And it wasn't wind or anything like that. Like, she felt like she was being watched, right? To the point where she went into the house, that's it, And she's saying things out of the corner of her eyes in the house as well. And I was telling her about Lower Fort Garry. I was telling her about the highway ghost. She didn't like that too much. But I found an old map which shows where they buried the soldiers, like in a mass grave on the other side of the highway, or what would be the farmer's land now across the highway. But at the same time, the old map shows, and it's numbered. There must be 40 or 50 random little houses outside of the gate, like all over on her property, right? So I'm going to take the metal detector there this summer and the gadgets and see. But if you guys want to come along, you got nothing to do for the day, make a day of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, and then 2 properties over is the graveyard, eh? There's another graveyard. Not as old as the fort, like it's a newer,
Yeah.
you know, like in the last 80 years or so. For shits and giggles, she takes her grandkids for walks.
I love cemeteries.
I know, right? Sounds like the perfect day. Hey, Brandon?
Kelly and I went through Elmwood Cemetery when there was tornado warnings.
Oh, yeah?
We're like, fuck it.
That's crazy. You know what freaks me out about the Elmwood Cemetery? It freaks me out because you go so far back, you don't even know where you are. You can't hear the street or the highway. Like
I didn't realize it was.
it's so dense or something, right? Like just
like, yeah, when we were there, we started walking. I'm like, it just seems like every time you take a turn, it just keeps
going. I know.
I'm like, I knew it was big, but
I know. It's like I think that's creepy on the fact that a cemetery is creepy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you don't need no more creep factor. But
Yeah.
you do that at night in the dark, and you walk way back there, and you don't know where you are. You can get turned around really fast.
oh, easily, yeah.
Starting May 30th, over at the Little Brown Jug, we are partnering with the Winnipeg Paranormal Group, Ravens and Books, and we are doing a Spirits with Spirits night, the last Thursday of every month, where we will have like an open night mic night, and people can come down, have a couple of beverages with us, sit around, we can talk about ghosts and creepy shit, and it's an open mic, so you can come out and tell us your story if you care, or even something you've written, you want to bounce it off the crowd. We're there for you. So that's going to be a new event, Spirits with Spirits, at the Little Brown Jug, last Thursday of every month, starting May 30th.
I'm so excited for that.
I am so excited. A long time coming. It's going to be so much fun.
yes.
So if there's a place to be, that'll be the place. So again, thank you for listening to us. And as always, remember to live every day like it is your last and never